is your girl, Yono.
And Angie.
And this is Rebel Women Podcast.
So I hope everyone's enjoying the Super Bowl.
Yes, like we are. We have it on mute right now as we're recording our episode numero 7, right?
Yeah, lucky number 7.
Yeah, we're getting up there. We're trying our best. We are brainstorming better ways to increase our followers and do better. So we are still looking forward to your suggestions, your comments about how we can better ourselves. Look out for our upcoming logos and just post. We're going to be a little bit more active in that area. So that we don't kind of like lose our little momentum that we have going on or build from the momentum. So yeah, look forward to that. But we really would enjoy reading your suggestions on how we can better the podcast and what are some of the subjects and topics that you'd like us to cover.
Yeah, guys. So please go follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We have a Facebook fan page. We have a Twitter. We're gonna start tweeting, to keep you guys engaged. And yeah. So first of all, before we start on our topic for the evening, I just want to quickly mention how unimpressed I am with this Justin Timberlake performance.
Oh my God.
First of all, there's so many things, Justin, that you could have done.
You wanted to be the director of the halftime.
So let me tell you, in my world, I have various scenarios. My first scenario is that NSYNC would have came up. Yo, bye, like freaking tearing up my heart. Like, yo, would have been lit. Second scenario, NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys. Bruh! It would have been lit!
This is what she was hoping for throughout the entire halftime. She was like, where's NSYNC? Where's NSYNC? And I'm like, what?
Yo, if NSYNC would have came out, done that shit, like, and then freaking Backstreet Boys would have came out.
Is that even their song?
Yeah, it's Tearing Up My Heart is their NSYNC song.
Is it?
Yeah. No. Tearing Up My Heart is NSYNC. Don't get the... It's them with their little wife beaters and their little baggy jeans and Justin's little blonde hair. No, don't. And then Backstreet Boys when it came out with I Want It That Way. Yo, like a mashup. Yo.
It would have made her like 100 times better.
Bro, I would have called out of work tomorrow. And I just started working there. And I would be like, yo, like, it's over. Last scenario. Freaking Justin would have came up, did his thing, and all of a sudden, oh, baby. Oh!
Damn, Angie wants a lot. She wants Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears.
Bruh! If Britney would have came out with her damn snake, it would have been over. Yo! But this damn white boy came out with the goddamn troll song. He deadass had everyone dressed like a damn rainbow, singing to the troll song.
Oh, it was a good song.
I do like the song. I got hyped when I saw the troll movie, but Justin, come on, bro.
She wanted her NSYNC and Britney Spears.
Oh, and Backstreet's back.
Anywho. So,
serious topic now.
We're coming back to earth and recentering ourselves.
Take a sip of my Sprite. Feel free to sponsor us. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Anywho, so tonight we are going to be talking about, drum roll please, substance abuse. Yes, honey. Yes, for the cause, substance abuse. So yeah, we were going to be discussing the Me Too movement, but we have rescheduled it for some time next week so that it gives our guests some time to gather their thoughts. So tonight we're going to be speaking on the topic of like substance abuse. It's going to be a little bit more personal in terms of like my history with it and how I have decided to no longer partake in those activities and why.
All right. So, first I'm going to start with marijuana because I feel like every substance is different, affects us differently, and some are mainstream, some aren't. So I feel like marijuana is one that affects, or people closest to me consume the most, aside from alcohol. So I feel like that's what I will focus my comments on, because that's what I know. I am training to be a certified substance abuse counselor, so I am knowledgeable on a lot of these topics. I'm graduating in May.
Woo! Graduation in May.
But yeah, marijuana.
Yeah, my focus will be split in between experiencing a life growing up with an alcoholic father and picking up the habit of becoming like a smoker, at age 29, bleeding into age 30, and why I picked it up and why I've decided that I no longer will be doing it.
All right, so marijuana. So, when it comes to marijuana, listen, you want to partake in it, by all means, do what you want. All right, guys. So, substances. I honestly feel whether it's made from trees or in a lab, like it affects you in some way, sometimes positively, sometimes negatively. So I feel like you need to be conscious of that.
And also conscious of why you're using it and how often you're using it. And are you abusing it?
Yes, because I feel, not that I feel, but I mean, like, anything at all that influences you and makes you feel like you can't live without it, you can't function without it, you can't socialize without it, there's an issue. Nothing should have that type of power over you. Not a thing, not even a person. So I think those are things to keep in mind when you're consuming any substances at all.
So I'll give you guys like a personal kind of like insight of my growing up. So basically my dad is an alcoholic. He's currently a recovering alcoholic, and since a very young age I was very exposed to the effects and the downfall that alcohol played, not only within my father but within my family and my life. And I witnessed how this abuse of this substance just took over the person that raised me, this person that I glorified, and to this day, I still put my father on a pedestal because I do love him, and when he is sober, he's an amazing person, and he's my dad. But growing up, I did witness a lot of things that were very detrimental to my family and affected me in many ways. And, to this day, it's something that I'm still recovering. But like Will Smith says, you are responsible for your own happiness and your own well-being. And although I grew up seeing my father abusing alcohol, for whatever the reason may have been, a lot of it had to do with his childhood, I am still responsible for the way that I interact with alcohol and the way that I build my own happiness, even though I did face that as a child and as an adult. But yeah, like I was saying, I was very exposed to it. In the Latino culture, especially Dominicans, is a social thing to drink on the weekends, and it was fine for some time until drinking on the weekends turned into drinking on a Monday after work, turning into you're not going to work, turning into you're getting arrested, turning into this is what you use to cope with the reality of your life, and not finding alternatives to dealing with whatever internal issues you're having, and just like covering it with the alcohol. And I've seen my dad in hospitals. I've seen my dad physically assaulted and hurt because of him being under the influence and not really knowing how to deal with his demons without the use of alcohol. And I thank God, that now at his older age, he has a better approach to coping with his issues, and he is sober, and he does have relapses, and when he does, I believe that he has managed to create better habits to kind of like regain his composure and go back to the drawing board in terms of staying healthy and staying sober for his himself and his family. So yeah, I'm very much aware of those effects. And even when I was in college, I started noticing a pattern within myself in terms of like how I was using alcohol. And I think by my sophomore year, I kind of scared myself straight one time when I like overly drank. And they got to the point where it was just like, oh my God, this is great. I like this. I need more. I need more. And I didn't have a feeling. Like, I wasn't drinking to be social.
We've all been there,
Girl,
especially in
like,
college, man.
I was drinking to be blasted, to be drunk.
Anyone in New Paltz remember that jungle juice?
Golly, child. Like, I was drinking to a point where it was just like, I wanted to be out of my mind, bad shit, just drunk. So that particular year, I got scared straight because I felt like I was falling into the rabbit hole in terms of like abusing alcohol and not knowing a limit and being this 19-year-old girl in college, just like fuck it, abusing this drug because alcohol is a drug, abusing it and not really finding out the reason why I was doing it, you know. So that's my personal kind of story with alcohol, and I will consume, but it's something that I don't use to deal with any of my personal issues. I'm very like moderated. I know when to stop, when is my limit. I've gone months without consuming it. And this I did it kind of like cold turkey because I just learned what wasn't working for me. I learned that this is not the person that I wanted to be. And I started just feeling uncomfortable with the idea that I was going to become dependent on something that I saw my father dependent on. And that wasn't the person that I wanted to be. So that I completely controlled and I have under wraps. And I'm actually going to start another detox where I'm not gonna drink for a couple of months, just to heal my body and just see where my mental health is at.
So like marijuana, for example, lots of people like to say, oh, it's a plant, it's safe for you. Just because it's a plant doesn't mean that it's safe for you. There are lots of plants that can actually kill you if consumed. Just Google plants that can kill you and you'll find many plants that can kill you. So for you to say, oh, it's a plant, it's natural, organic, it's not going to kill me, doesn't mean that that's a plant can't kill you.
Exactly. You also don't know where you're getting it. Like, you don't know what chemicals people are putting into that stuff. It is a plant, but what happens for those who are collecting it off the plant and trying to sell it?
Yeah, like exactly. What happens from the moment that they extract it from the ground and it somehow ends up in your little bag in your neighborhood? Like, what happens? A lot of things can happen. There's also, like, synthetic marijuana that exists. And as in an individual that works in a facility where I see a lot of individuals in mental illness, I try to self-medicate with things like K2. It's like very sad because I'm telling you, like every other day there's one of our residents just passing out, ODing, because it's easy to get their hands on and they don't know any better. They just want a quick high. They want something that'll just remove them from whatever they're currently experiencing, and they do it inappropriately. And they end up, in situations, a couple of them have even ended up dead. So my thing is, research, know where you're getting your stuff from so you don't find yourself in a situation. Always drink responsibly. Don't drink to binge and, pass out. Because that's not a good feeling.
That's not. Lord have mercy. Imagine waking up from your drunken alcoholic binge. You don't feel good. You feel like trash.
No, and the thing is that also it takes away from like some of the positives. Like, you know, a lot of individuals with cancer and certain illnesses use, you know, cannabis as a way to medicate appropriately and safely to deal with the illness as well as with the symptoms coming from the illness or the medication that they may take. Like, for example, cancer patients, you know, may suffer some nausea, and cannabis actually helps them. Some illnesses causes people not to want to eat. So, you know, they consume cannabis, you know, in different ways in order to increase appetite. People who have issues sleeping also, you know. I feel like it's a healthy way to deal with that, but healthy when it's done appropriately, aka it's a certified individual who's administrating you this kind of medication and is also following up to make sure, you know, you're not intoxicating yourself.
Yeah. So my story with cannabis, with weed, with marijuana, I mean, I've tried it before when I was a teen, and it wasn't really my thing. It didn't make me feel good. I wasn't feeling like my friends, so I was like, this ain't for me. But I recently picked it back up at like late 29, just because it was actually making me feel good. It was making me kind of like zoned out. But I also started realizing why I was doing it, and it wasn't the best situation. I was doing it to kind of just like cover up any thoughts that I was having and to kind of like escape anything that I felt that I didn't want to feel at the moment. And I realized that wasn't the best route to take. And like with alcohol, I've decided to no longer consume it and find alternatives to whatever emotional distress I'm facing. But when I initially did it, it was based off the fact that at that point it was making me feel good. But then I noticed that I was creating a pattern that wasn't really like me, where I was doing it more often. Now when weekends came, it was just like, yes, I want to do it in the morning and in the afternoon, and I want to do it at night. And it wasn't myself. I was kind of like losing myself, and I realized that I don't want to lose myself. I'm a pretty amazing person who is, you know, trying to figure myself out each and every day and create myself. And I don't want that to be part of my story, even though it is something that's mainstream now and people are more understanding of it, and you know, it's helping a lot of people who are ill. I don't feel like partaking in that activity anymore, and it's all for the better of myself. It's all for understanding myself and creating better habits to deal with life and to deal with growing pains and to be a 30-year-old. So that's my story with my substances, that I no longer will be abusing because I will not be partaking in those activities.
So, let's get one thing straight. No one should ever make anyone else feel like they are less than because they don't use a substance. Never let anyone, you know, peer pressure you to want to try things that you don't want to try. Yeah, like my grandfather is like a very bad alcoholic, and he's been like that for such a long time. And it's sad to hear, you know, family, you know, say like, you know what, let him drink, because at this point, if we have him stop drinking, he's just gonna die, because that's how long he's been drinking. I mean, that's all he knows. And you know, he might just die. You know, alcohol is one of those substances that unfortunately you just can't go cold turkey because of the terrible effects that it has to your body and your liver. You actually have to like have a physician basically monitor you as you're detoxing, because it's a hell of a drug, whether we like to believe it or not. As far as substances, I remember in college dating a guy, and he literally wanted to quit every other week because he wanted to exercise, and he couldn't because he couldn't breathe, because the smoking was like clogging up his lungs. And every time he tried to quit, Lord Jesus, he became a grumpy monkey. Like, anything, it was a freaking argument with him. Everything bothered him. And it was him basically coming off of the substances. And it's just like, I would tell him, like, you see, like, you say that it doesn't affect you, but look how you're acting right now. You're coming off of this, and you're a different human being. Like, you're arguing about everything. You're always moody, grumpy, don't want to do anything, all because you're coming off of something. But you say it's good for you. So, yeah, it's not cool. I mean, I drink alcohol, don't get me wrong. I have my wine, but I have it, in moderation. I actually just had a couple glasses of wine. I'm fine. I probably won't drink for the next couple of weeks. But, yeah, that's just my idea. I'm asthmatic, so I don't really smoke. I'll choke and die or something.
But you have, though.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has, at some point in their life.
That's true.
Now, let me not say everyone. I'll take that back. It's not everyone. But, I mean, we went to, like, the number one party school in the country, while we were there. I don't know about now. So, I mean, it was a party every day.
That is true.
I know after we graduated, the thing to do was Molly. Now that shit was something I was not even attracted to. Remember once oh my God, I'll never forget. Went up to Newport or something. And this one chick just randomly, like, grabbed me by my shoulders and literally told me that she was on Molly, and to look into her eyes are crazy. And I was like, no, girl, you look crazy. I was like, who are you? Literally shook her off. And I was like, yo, this guy's a freaking psychopath. Like, literally, like, her eyes are completely black. It was fucking scary as shit.
Oh, my God. The only weird stuff that I remember that happened from somebody that was using something other than alcohol was this girl who fell asleep in my friend's dorm room. Like, literally walked into her dorm room and found her sleeping in her bed. Like, you really gotta, you really get yourself into some stuff when you're...
No, I got stories for days of, like, people binging on crap. I mean, I'm not a saint. I know I got myself in situations. But luckily for me, I've always... The times that I've gotten myself into situations, it's been with people that I know. So... Although it's irresponsible on my part, I subconsciously knew, like, I would be okay because I was within a circle. Mm-hmm. Although, let's be honest, a high percentage of, like, rape and stuff occurs with people, it's date rape, people that you actually know. Thank God
that
wasn't my situation. But there's been situations, like, literally, I remember this one time, we were at this freaking party, Sunny's, and this poor girl was, like, crying, bawling in tears, throwing up her life, and literally, she was like, she didn't know where she was, her friends disappeared, and she's just crying, telling me her life, and then all of a sudden, me and her and my friends are taking care of her, and we don't even know her.
Is this at the best?
Yes, you remember? And we're like, where are your friends? And she's like, I don't know. I don't even go to this school. Mind you, we went to school in, like, the middle of nowhere, upstate New York. So it's not like, okay, well, we're going to put you in a cab to take you home type nonsense. Like, no, we were going to have to adopt this poor girl, bring her back to our dorm room, and figure it out the following day. We were literally with her, like, for 45 minutes. trying like to calm her down, and we made her happy because she was like a mess. I think we even took pictures with her. Because she, like, after we got her all happy, she's like, I love you guys are so nice. And then finally her friends came, and we started yelling at her friends because we're like, how can you do that to your friend? She's obviously drunk. Like, she's not even drunk, she's like past drunk.
Yeah, past the point of no return.
If we wanted to take advantage of her, we could have done it.
Yeah.
And you guys just left her. And her friends are like, I didn't do this, let me go dance. And we're like, yo. So, I mean, you really got to watch the situations that you get into. Because unfortunately, you can't trust anyone. I mean, stories are coming up now with, like, people who are getting abused by family members. And, like, friends and even partners. So imagine having a predator, because I feel like all people like that are predators, in your circle, and then you inhibiting your ability to make rational decisions with any substance. I'm not saying that people who have gotten themselves in a, what do you call it, compromising situation because they were under the influence, not saying that it's their fault, but I'm saying imagine if you weren't in that mind frame and you would have been clear. I feel like you might have, I don't know, had a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, you wouldn't put yourself in that situation. Or if you were to be in a dangerous situation, you would know how to react to it, as opposed to you being out of it and intoxicated and not really having all of your, motor skills working and all over the place. That's how, you are taking advantage. And a lot of people, when they are under the influence, tend to black out. And that makes the situation even worse because you don't even remember anything that happens. I mean, thank God I never blacked out and never put myself in a situation where it was risky. Because again, like Angie mentioned, I was surrounded by a good group of folks that, never let me kind of like, go missing and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my take on substance abuse and pretty much like my journey when it comes to having a family member that abuses alcohol, and also my own personal journey with substances and what I'm choosing to do with my life and not have those things as part of my life anymore because I want to cope and deal with my own personal issues on my own terms without involving any foreign substances to kind of like alter my perception. And that's my own opinion. I don't knock anybody who uses any of those things because again, it's my own choice.
You're your own person.
And a lot of people use it as recreational and feel great about it, and that's great. I choose not to use it anymore because I noticed that I wasn't using it as a recreation. I was using it as a cover-up to whatever emotional issues I have been dealing with, and I no longer want to do that. But before we do end this topic, we do want to give some sort of information for those folks who are in need of alternatives when you're dealing with substance abuse.
Yes, guys. So if you have any troubles or issues that, you want to talk to someone, but you don't feel comfortable, talking to someone that close to you, I suggest you guys go to nycwells.com. It's a website where you can talk, text, or chat with someone 24/7, just to talk about any problems like stress, depression, anxiety, drug, alcohol misuse, any issues that you may have. There's someone always there. I know the app actually, the organization also was trying to come up with like a emergency face-to-face where like you can just tell them, hey, I want to meet at a certain place, like a public park, and just talk to someone face-to-face. If you are one of those people that needs to have someone face-to-face, they can accommodate you. So again, that's just go online, NYC Wells, just Google it or go nycwells.com. It will redirect you to the website and share this information. They speak various languages. It's free. So they have interpreters available that speak over 200 languages and dialects. And it's open 24/7.
Yep. And I hope you guys utilize these resources, because they're out there. So if you are going through something that's emotional, just reach out and don't self-medicate with these things, because in the long run they won't make you any better. So that's my take on it.
For me, like I said, I don't judge. You can do what you want to do. Just do it responsibly. Educate yourself so that you know the effects of it in the long run. If you have any issues, don't turn to any substances or people. If you can first, reach out to someone, family, friends, or like I said, someone you don't know, like NYC Wells. I feel like that's a better way to deal with anything you may be going to, but that's just me.
Over and out.
All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the Super Bowl, and shout out to that NFL commercial where they were doing, the dance from Dirty Dancing. 'Cause it was very distracting as I was trying to record this.
I hope you guys have an amazing week. And again, if you're dealing with something and you feel like you're abusing these substances, just reach out to the resources that we added to our podcast. Sometime next week, we will be talking about the Me Too movement, and we will be having a special guest speaking on her personal experience with that. So please look forward to that, and thank you for listening, y'all.
All right, good night.
Peace out.